So, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jordan Schwer with Get My Parking, and we're excited to introduce you to AVA, our new AI virtual support assistant for GMP ExpressLane exit lanes. Quick bit of housekeeping before we get started. Today's session will run about 30 minutes. We are recording, and we'll share the replay as well as the recording and the resources afterwards. So please feel free to drop your questions into the chat or the Q&A section down at the bottom of your screen. We'll make sure to cover them during the QA section at the end of the webinar today. I'm joined by Chris Cognetta and Wade Brossow, who will be running the content and walking us through a demo of AVA in action. As you know, exit lanes are often the biggest friction point. Lost tickets, payment issues, or confusion at a kiosk. AVA solves that by putting conversational AI right in the lane. It's multilingual, noise resistant, trained with your site rules, and always available. For parkers, that means instant support. For operators, it means fewer calls, lower costs, and smoother exits. With that, let me turn it over to Chris and Wade to show you exactly how AVA works.
Happy to introduce her to you. What is AVA? Really, who is AVA? AVA is your 24/7 AI customer support agent. She talks to you like a human, and she lives inside the ExpressLane kiosk. She is specific to ExpressLane. We're not selling her in any other form or fashion. She lives in our ExpressLane kiosk. Her goal is to work with the parker to do everything in her power to assist you in paying your parking fee, applying a validation, or helping you with a permit. She won't forward the call to a human for interaction until she's exhausted all the options with you on the call. ExpressLane, what is it? It's our flagship product, replacing parking legacy parking equipment, and providing a parking experience that is 3 times faster than the traditional paper tickets and parks equipment. ExpressLane achieves this by removing those expensive components that often fail due to age, wear and tear, dust, and paper jams. Because we remove those items that fail, we lower the amount of assistance a parker requires by 84%. That's right, intercom calls are reduced drastically because we simplify the process. We utilize the existing gates, add a camera per lane, and a few networking components, and that's essentially it. Parking simplified. How does AVA work? AVA experience is similar to a conventional intercom. It starts with the push of a button. AVA then greets you, helps you determine your issue. She gives clear instructions, talks in your language, and she only escalates when she has to. How does she learn? Well, she learns by being trained on your unique facility, including your permit program, events, rates, validations, user groups, and even noise levels. She is trained on your entire operation, so she's prepared to handle the most items. She's prepared to handle most of the items that come up. Who is AVA for? Well, I may be a bit biased, but in my view, there isn't an application or a vertical that AVA can't handle. She is right for every application, including the ones listed. Let's listen to some demos of AVA helping out parkers.
Thanks, Wade. So I definitely got the fun part of this. So I get to go through some different scenarios. We have 4 scenarios that we've set up that we're going to walk you through. These are pre-recorded sessions, but it's important that all of our reseller partners know that we are setting up a demo account where each of you will have the ability in the coming weeks. Wade and I will be reaching out to you, whether in person or via calls, where you'll be able to live interact with AVA yourself. So you will get that opportunity, but in the interest of time and with the large group here today, doing some pre-recorded sessions we felt was the easiest way to show that. So I'm going to stop talking for a second and go through this first scenario of a parker that has a digital validation.
Hi, how can I help you today?
Hey, yeah, I'm stuck at the gate. The store said I wouldn't have to pay for parking because they sent me a validation online. What do I need to do?
I see you have a validation card. You should have received a validation QR code link via text message. Please open it and scan the QR at the display device.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, I've got it in my texts. Clicking on it now. Oh, it's a QR code. Where do I scan this?
Yes, you can use the QR code on your validation card. Just scan it at the display device.
Where exactly is that?
The scanner is the small white box at the bottom right of the display. Make sure your phone brightness is up and move it slowly in front of the scanner.
All right. Oh, nice. It took some money off my total. Guess I went over the 2-hour free hours they gave me. So, how do I pay for the rest?
That's wonderful news. You can pay the remaining balance directly at the payment device by tapping your card, inserting it into the chip reader, or swiping it.
Shoot, I don't have my wallet on me. Can I use Apple Pay?
Yes, you can pay with Apple Pay.
Okay, great. I'll try that. Perfect. It went through. And the gate's opening. Merci beaucoup.
Oui, vous devriez pouvoir partir maintenant. Passez une bonne journée et à bientôt.
So a couple things I want to highlight from that. First is, and you'll hear this through all the demos we're going to do, truly how lifelike Ava does sound. It doesn't sound like you're talking to a robot or chatbot. It sounds exactly like a conversation you'd be having with a human. In this scenario, not uncommon, Parker shows up and doesn't know how to use the validation that they've received. So you can see how Ava very calmly and quickly walked her through exactly how to use that validation. You'd also will notice that the validation was for 2 hours and the Parker had stayed beyond that time. And she realized as she was there that she needed to then pay, but didn't understand how to do it. Ava said, no problem. I'll walk you exactly through how to do it. I don't have my credit card. Great. Do you have Apple Pay? Yes, I do. Walk them right through it. And then little subtle point that you probably noticed at the end, and you can see the text on the screen right there. At the very end, the Parker decided to say thank you in French, merci beaucoup. And then immediately Ava, we talk about the multilingual component of Ava, immediately went into French seamlessly right from that point. I will not try to pretend that I know what that says on the screen. I'm sure someone who's fluent in French could share that, but the point being that it did seamlessly move between. All right, let's go through scenario 2, which is a misread.
Hi, how can I help you today?
Hey, Eva, I'm stuck at the gate.
It seems like your entry wasn't captured, so you will need to authorize your card at the device to exit.
Okay, how do I authorize my card?
You can either tap your card on the machine or insert it into the chip reader or swipe it on the right side.
I don't have a card right now. What do I do?
Do you have Apple Pay or Google Pay on your phone that you can use instead?
Yes, actually.
Okay, great. You can use Apple Pay or Google Pay by tapping your phone on the payment device.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. You're all set. Have a safe drive.
All right, so you're all familiar with ExpressLane, and you know that our AI tool can resolve almost all scenarios that come up in real time. But there are those 1% to 2% of scenarios that it can't. And this was an example where this Parker showed up and there was a misread at the entry. So in that case, they're asked to pre-authorize a card. And then our team manually will close the session on the back end. So it walked the Parker through, Ava did again, exactly how to do that. Another example of the Parker not having a credit card. It then went to Apple Pay and they proceeded from there. So again, very, very seamless. A scenario that in most other cases would result, in someone either on the ground needing to get involved or a call to someone. But in this case, Ava is able to seamlessly keep things moving and keep the Parker experience going smoothly. All right, let's go through a scenario of a person that has a reservation.
Hi, how can I help you today?
Hey, I'm here for an event nearby. I had a reservation for parking earlier.
Okay, you have a reservation. I can help with that.
Yeah, my event's done, but I'm stuck at the gate.
It looks like there's no parking data available for your lane right now. Can you tell me what kind of reservation you have, please?
It was an event reservation for today. The concert was Kings of Leon.
Can you tell me if you have a QR code for your reservation?
Yes, I do. I got it in my email, and I also added it to my wallet.
Okay, please scan the QR code at the display device.
Okay, where can I scan the QR code?
The scanner is the small white box at the bottom right of the display. Make sure your phone brightness is up and move it slowly in front of the scanner.
Okay, nice. It worked. The gate's opening. Muchas gracias.
De nada, que tengas un buen día.
So again, in this example, the Parker had secured a reservation ahead of time. When they entered in, because it's ExpressLane, it let them in seamlessly, as it does for everyone at entry. When the Parker got to the exit, everything was working properly. The Parker just didn't know how to apply that reservation. So Ava quickly explained, do you have a QR code? And walked them through the process of how to go ahead and scan the QR, showed them, where do I scan the QR? Very clearly explained exactly where you do that through the POS device. And at the end, much like you heard in the first example where it was French, when the Parker switched to Spanish and said muchas gracias, Ava seamlessly switched over languages as well. All right, we have one last scenario, which is an escalation.
Hi, how can I help you today?
I'm stuck at the gate.
I understand the gate isn't opening for you. Just a moment while I check that for you. It looks like the gate isn't opening because payment for your parking session hasn't been made. You'll need to pay before you can exit.
I've tried everything. I tried scanning my QR from the app, giving my phone number, everything. मुझे बाहर जाना है. आपके मैनेजर से बात करें.
ओके, मैं समझ गई कि आपको कुछ और चीजें आजमाने के बाद भी दिक्कत हो रही है और आप मेरे मैनेजर से बात करना चाहते हैं.
हाँ.
ठीक है, मैं इसे तुरंत अपने मैनेजर को भेज रही हूँ.
So if you're not fluent in Hindi, that is where the language switched mid-flight in. So in this case, once the Parker switched languages, what they asked for at that point was to speak to a manager, which at that point, Ava is trained to escalate. Ava can also tell by tone. So I would venture to say in this scenario, had the Parker not said that, you could tell by the frustration in their voice. I've tried everything. I can't get out. I need to get out. At that point, Ava's trained to then forward that to a manager through a calling process based on how you've got the location configured and where you want that call to go. So in 3 of these 4 examples, Ava was able to resolve the situation itself through the process without having to engage with anyone on the ground, saving those resources for higher value operational things that they need to be focused on as opposed to taking these calls. The 4th one, when the person wanted to escalate it, it sent them right away. All right, Wade, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thanks, Chris. So why Ava? Well, I believe you just heard why. Those examples listed are the reason why. She's everything that we taught her to be, and she's capable of learning so much more. So how Ava improves the driver experience? Can you think of a parking facility that couldn't use 84% less intercom calls? That's a rhetorical question. Ava works everywhere. She's smooth and stress-free. Ava works everywhere. She works in our ExpressLane. She's enabled by our GMP display in the app, even in the busiest locations. She works everywhere. How does Ava help operators? Well, she does all those things listed and can grow with you. She can learn all the challenges of your facility. I'd be willing to say she's future-proof. She's capable and ready for the future. If you haven't figured it out yet, Ava is a large piece of the puzzle that helps complete the GMP advantage. There's decades of expertise in the parking digitization, seamless integration with our ExpressLane, continuous updates and training for Ava, trusted partner for leading operators worldwide. Let's get to some of your questions.
Thanks, Wade and Chris. Let's see, we are opening up the Q&A section here of our AVA webinar, and we've got a couple of questions starting to come in. Thanks again so much to everybody's participation and for everybody to hop on this exciting demo. Let's see, we got a couple of questions coming in here. I'm going to let a few more in. So Wade and Chris, I'm gonna just send a couple of these to you right now. So, what exit device must be used in order to use AVA?
Go ahead.
Do you want me to take that one, Wade, or would you like to?
Go ahead, Chris.
So great question. It is very specific, not just to ExpressLane, as we mentioned before, but to the LaMasaTech device that we use, the digital display device at the exit. That is what is configured to work with AVA, and that display is what would be required.
And to add to that, to know when you're doing the installation, you'll need 2 network ports, one for AVA and one for the point of sale. So just keep that in mind as you're pulling cables.
Thank you, Wade and Chris. Let's see. Next question coming in here. What kinds of locations does AVA work in? And this is a little redundant, but what hardware is needed? So we could just kind of talk through that a little bit.
Yeah, so I'll take this, Chris. So the intercom button is actually a digital display that's imposed on the digital display of the Lamasa unit. So you'll actually press that, and the touchscreen will recognize it and create the integrate or and initiate the call. The equipment, yeah, the equipment is the Lamasa display. We'll need that. As I said, it takes a processor and it takes another network connection to be able to connect to the network for AVA.
Yeah, and I think just to follow up on that too, the AVA is built and used only for ExpressLane locations. It's trained on every aspect of the GMP user experience through and through. So that's another kind of clarifying point. It's only for locations that have ExpressLane turned on. Let's see, we got a couple more questions coming in here. Is network connectivity needed for AVA to function? What happens with a data drop?
Wade, I will let you take this one.
Well, as I said, we definitely need a network connection for AVA to work, as it does connect to the rest of the network. And on a data drop, we don't have her in an offline mode. So if we do not have, I guess it depends on the data drop where the breakage happens. But if we don't have connection to the cloud, AVA can handle a few things, but she can't handle rates. There's not a lot that she can do without a network connection. If there's any more to add to that, Jordan, please do.
Yeah, typically in most ExpressLane locations, we rely on a primary internet connection that's wired. Outside of that, we typically recommend a 4G, 5G backup solution be deployed as well. And so based on that failover, I don't have the actual bandwidth requirements for AVA right now. But we've been able to run these demos in lots of different scenarios where we've had a very limited network bandwidth. For instance, we've run it over 4G, 5G right off of our iPhone or Android devices. So as long as there is some kind of backup, you can essentially maintain AVA's connectivity in the lane in real time. The other aspect of that is that there's always a failover based on the location to the call service or whatever kind of phone tree scenario is set up in each one of these ExpressLane sites. So whether that call gets routed to the security guard or the location manager or the asset owner or a third-party call system, that failover is built into this entire process.
I wrote down the question bandwidth requirements, and we'll update the group on those.
Thank you, Wade. This is another kind of redundant question here, but I just want to pose it because someone just brought it up here. Does AVA work with other park systems?
I'll take
Chris?
this one. So thank you. So the answer to that is no. No, it does not. It is built specifically for our ExpressLane solution. So to be used with our ExpressLane solution and specifically the Lamasa Tech digital display.
And as you heard Jordan say, she can call forward to another service like a Parker or something. So we certainly can utilize those as well, but she is strictly for us in ExpressLane.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see, another question coming in here. Is there any logic that allows AVA to vend a gate when dealing with a verbally frustrated guest?
Go ahead, Chris.
I'll start this one, and then Jordan, Wade, you can add some color in. The vending the gate piece, I'm not sure on, but the last demo that we went through with escalation, it does have the ability, if a customer is clearly frustrated, to either pick up on that, or if the customer says, I need to speak to a manager, I need to get out, to escalate that and then have it call to wherever the customer wants that that particular location where they want that call routed to get and address it quickly. But Jordan, Wade, I'll let you add any other color to that you want.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
could open
thanks.
the gate. Go ahead, Jordan.
No, thanks, Chris and Wade. AVA does have the ability to vent a gate. That's built into the overall large language model as well as the core platform here. This is typically an onboarding conversation with the operator or the asset owner per location based on some of the scenarios that team experiences at that location. So if you have a high volume event location, the configuration of AVA will look different than if you have a location that's primarily monthly parking or a location that's focused on downtown transient use. So AVA does have the ability to vent a gate. We leave that up to the client to decide the parameters around that. And I realize that there can be a little bit more nuance included in that conversation. It's a really good question. But we've seen a lot of success where AVA just escalates to a call center. So AVA is there to handle, a significant amount of the in-lane scenarios or issues. We got another question coming in here. Do we have any metrics for reduction in staffing impact due to AVA?
So I'll start here, and then again, others can add color. I think some metrics that you could expect to see reduced with AVA is a reduction in calls. So keep in mind with ExpressLane, just with ExpressLane period, we see typically over an 80% up to 84% reduction in support calls. But I think AVA, as you saw in these demos today, in 3 of the 4 scenarios, could have reduced calls even further by being able to handle and resolve those. I think some other metrics that you can expect to see a reduction in operating expenses, the call volume, which we already spoke about. And I think you can definitely expect to see a revenue capture increase here because AVA can help walk through some scenarios where in other instances, if a customer hits that button and they're frustrated, you may just open the gate and let them out. But now your customers don't need to do that because with AVA can help resolve very quickly a lot of common scenarios that come up. Jordan, Wade, if you want to add anything else, feel free.
Yeah, I think you handled it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Chris. All right, I got another question here, and this is definitely an important one. Chris, what does AVA cost?
That's a great question, right? So AVA costs $49 per month per exit lane where it's utilized. So again, $49 per month per exit lane. And I think with what you've seen today and the power and some of the metrics that it can improve, that is a very fair cost per exit lane.
I was going to ask Jordan, what does it cost if you don't buy it or if you do?
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean that's a great topic, right? I mean, the nice thing about turning on feature and functionality like this in an ExpressLane location is it doesn't have to be done on day one, right? So we can have ExpressLane go live and start optimizing the location dynamics, and then we can turn AVA on at any point. It's all a digital solution. So I think there's a lot of flexibility for an operator or an asset owner when looking at optimizing their overall operation per location in order to better the customer experience and see an uptick in revenue. All right, we are getting really close to the end of the call here. I'm going to just do a last call for more questions as we are at the end. Anybody else? All right. Thank you everyone so much for your time and attention today. We really appreciate it. As we mentioned at the beginning of the call, we are going to send the recording out afterwards to everybody that registered and attended. And then Chris and Wade will be following up with each one of our resellers to schedule these demo calls and provide more resources.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
everyone. As always, appreciate your participation and your engagement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.